Less than 2 years ago, the Orlando Magic took Paolo Banchero with the first overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft. And to be honest, we both really weren't high on this pick. I personally loved Chet as a prospect, and we really weren't sure if Banchero's game would transfer to the NBA well. But ever since that moment, he has completely proved us wrong.
Yeah, rookie year, put up 20 points a night, was the clear and obvious rookie of the year. And then this year, stats have gone up across the board. He made the All-Star team, and he's got his team maybe on pace to host a playoff series. And yet no one's talking about him.
Before we start talking about how underrated Paolo Banchero is, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any new videos. So I mentioned in the intro, but going into the draft, we were not super high on Banchero. One of the earliest videos we ever put out was hating on Banchero. And like I said, we were flat out wrong on him. And for some reason, we were just hating super hard. But basically, the gist of the video was we didn't really see his game transferring to the NBA. Like the comparisons we heard were Julius Randle, Blake Griffin, a little bit of Chris Webber. That's not really a player you see anymore in the modern NBA.
Yeah, they're all great players that have been all-stars before, but yeah, you're right, that old school power forward, play in the mid-range, attack the basket a little bit. Not really a player that is seen as super valuable in the modern NBA. I mean, Julius Randle, how many times has that man almost been run out of New York City by his own fans?
That's true, and at least he's like a great shooter. I wasn't sure if Banchero would be even like an okay shooter entering the draft.
Also, there were concerns on the defensive end. He wasn't a great defender in college. Scouts were questioning his lateral quickness and also his rim protecting ability, which kind of brought into question whether you could play him as a small ball five or not. So, with all that said, Banchero, it didn't seem like he was really suited to the modern NBA going into the draft. Like, you were super high on Chet. I was super high on Jabari Smith, so one of us was a little more wrong than the other. But, that's besides the point. But we just didn't think Banchero would fit as well as the other two in the modern NBA.
And then it kind of gets forgotten about at this point, but Banchero was kind of seen as the third overall pick going into the draft. You had Jabari Smith Jr., who was, I wouldn't say a clear number one, but for the most part, you look at a mock draft, he was number one. Then Chet was getting a ton of hype just with the unicorn abilities he had. And for the most part, most mock drafts had the Rockets taking Banchero with the third pick. And then draft day happened. I have no idea what happened in the Magic front office, but out of nowhere, he shot to the odds-on favorite to be the number one overall pick.
I tell you, the Magic should have traded down. Do what the Celtics did when they picked up
True.
Tatum at number 3. They wanted Tatum all along, but they knew, we could get him at 3. Let's trade down and get him. I mean, it would have been a massive risk, and it could have blown up in their face. So you know what? It's probably a good thing they didn't do that. From the jump, though, it looked like the Magic made the right decision. He had a great Summer League debut, dropped 17 points, outplayed Jabari Smith, had another great game against the Kings before they kind of started to shut him down. But once the regular season started, right out the gate, first game ever, 27 points, 9 boards, 5 assists. Was against the Pistons, and they did lose that game, but still, you know what? A great debut.
Yeah, great debut and a great rookie season. He was rookie of the month every month except November. He averaged 20 points a game, 7 rebounds, and almost 4 assists. Banchero was obviously rookie of the year. Should have been unanimous. He got 98 of the 100 first place votes, but for some reason Walker Kessler got 2 votes. Walker Kessler, good rookie, didn't deserve a single vote.
You always got some mother out there voting for awards that just tries to be different.
Exactly.
Tries to be like, you know what, I'm seeing something everyone else isn't seeing. Are you gonna take a unanimous award that Banchero clearly deserved away from? For what?
I don't know, probably some dude in Utah. But even at this point for Banchero, the media hype really just wasn't there for him. Like, he got some flowers, but at this point, Big Vic was entering the draft. All eyes were on him. We heard like Anthony Edwards is taking a leap next season. He had a good playoffs. I really don't remember anything about Banchero over the entire offseason.
I mean, it sucks for Banchero, but just as a quick experiment, do you know who the number 1 draft pick was in 2002?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
But you know who number 1 was in 2003? No,
Yeah.
Only thing I can remember is from the FIBA World Cup when he was asked if he had a message for any of the Italian fans that were upset that he wasn't playing for Italy. And he just straight up was like, no. Just straight up.
That was so funny. You rarely ever hear an NBA player or just an athlete say something like that. Usually they'll say like, no, like I got no bad love for them, like, or anything. I hope they feel the same. But he was just like, nope, I got nothing to say.
Absolutely nothing. True to his word.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing to say to them.
Now we gotta talk about the insane lack of media attention that not just Banchero's getting, but the entire Orlando Magic franchise. They had one national TV game this year. It was February 13th against the Thunder. And the only reason that game was nationally televised is because they retired Shaq's number and he became the first player in franchise history to have their number retired. That's basically it.
Yeah, in fact, before that game, the last time the Magic had a national TV game was back in the bubble, and the last time they had a home game on national TV was March 13th of 2013. We were sophomores in high school.
That's ridiculous. LeBron James was on that Miami Heat team. Like, are you kidding me? 11 years without a home national TV game, like outside the playoffs.
That's unacceptable.
Completely unacceptable.
Throw him a bone at least one. You can't give him one game a year.
Nope.
I get Orlando is not that big a market. I get they don't have that big a fan base, but how are they going to grow that fan base if they're never on TV because we got to watch the Knicks 47 times a year?
Yeah. And to an extent, I get it. The Magic were completely terrible, but why this season did they get one national TV game and it's a jersey retirement? Like, this is a young up and coming team. You had the first overall pick from a year prior. You got Franz Wagner, like another good young star, and they get one national TV game. Why? I don't get that at all. But even though the Magic and Banchero aren't getting the love they deserve, they've been hooping this season just under the radar. For Banchero, his numbers are up across the board, but he's taken some leaps, particularly with his shooting and his playmaking. He's now averaging over 5 assists per game. He's shooting 36% from 3. And those were the two big questions we had about him. He's completely shut us up on those.
Yeah, I still worry about his jumper a little bit. Like, I think it's great that he's shown that improvement, that he's gotten it up to 36%. But I think his archetype as a player is still very much as like a slasher. And I wonder in the modern NBA where the three is so emphasized, like, can a slasher be the best player on a contender? I'm not sure. I don't think he needs to become like Klay Thompson or Steph Curry, but I think if he can keep improving that jumper, sky's the limit for him. And on the other end, his defensive rating isn't great. Like, his on-off stats are kind of hilarious, honestly.
They're like 103 defensive rating, the Magic are when he's off, and then 113 with him on. That could be, you know, Jonathan Isaac comes in off the bench. He's one of the best defensive players in the league when he's playing. So that could be it. They have a lot of good defensive players. Honestly, I'm not super worried about it though, because the Magic are still a great defensive team with him, and they brought him in to carry the offense. They would have drafted Jabari Smith if they wanted a 3-and-D player. They wanted an offensive superstar.
Yeah, and I mean, it's paid off. The Magic, they're going to have their best season since Dwight Howard. They're on pace for like a 14-game improvement. They could host a playoff series for the first time in God knows how long. As of the time of this recording, they're only a half game behind the Knicks for the 4th seed. And I got to say, I am so happy for all the Orlando Magic fans.
Yes.
Because they have had to deal with some teams for the better part of a decade. And the fact that it's finally paying off, their loyalty is finally being repaid. I love it. As a fellow small market fan, I remember back in the bubble in 2020 after the Blazers and the Magic as 8 seeds both won their first games against the number 1 seeds. Someone put on the Blazers subreddit like a Portlando logo that like mixed the Blazer logo with the Magic logo. So you know what? I feel a little bit of solidarity and I'm rooting for the Magic the rest of the way.
Yeah, I feel that 100%. Us small market teams, we gotta look out for each other.
Gotta stick together.
We got to. So hopefully Banchero and the Magic can just shock some folks this playoffs. And I just love seeing the future they have there. So what do you guys think? Why is Banchero not getting more love from the media? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like. And hey, while you're here, check out some of our other content as well. And don't forget to subscribe to Synthetic Sports.